I guess some of you could go over by the window, like half the group over there. And then the other half of the group, say, yeah, right, from here over. Just leave me in the middle here, section. Welcome to Krause's Chocolates. My name's Carl Krause. I've been working here since I was like 8 years old. And this is where we start the batches in this pot here. Right now he's doing a almond toffee.
Yep.
And he's going to be spreading the chocolate onto the top. And then he's got to put, when that cools off a little, he's going to throw nuts on it. And so the way he did that was, in this pot, you put in butter and sugar, and that's classified as a type of hard candy. So it has to go up to like 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Now a soft center will only go up to 250. And this is a pretty simple batch. It just has like sugar and butter in it. But that makes it hard to work with. Most of our batches have like a liquid sugar in them. Like either corn syrup or invert sugar. And the reason for those is to keep it from recrystallizing when it cools off. Like the cream batches, they have like liquid sugars in them. So, like if I was to make a cream batch in here, I throw in water, sugar, like a big pile of sugar, and then liquid sugar, the invert sugar. And that makes it kind of like an icing that comes out. And we boil it up in here. This is my thermometer rig. I had to make this because I couldn't find one. This is like a regular chef's thermometer. But I just had to make a barrel for this the probe to go in, so the probe wouldn't melt in the batch or whatever. And then this allows me to have a timer so I don't have to stand here next to it. And here's the old-fashioned type of thermometer, which we still use sometimes. If you're just standing there stirring the batch, you would use this type. It's just an old mercury thermometer. But if you have to go and do other things, you would use this timer thermometer, or it has an alarm on it. Okay, so if we're doing our cream batch, we would get it boiling up here. We would get it till it beeps at around 250-ish. Remove the thermometer. And we would crank it up off the stove. And cream batches go over here. And this is called a cream beater, and you would pour it in there. And when you pour it into this, it would just look like water, really. Just water with a ton of like sugar dissolved in it. And so it would look like just a puddle laying in here. We let that cool down to 90 degrees or so, 100 degrees, and it gets really thick. Like, I don't know what to compare it to. If you were to take like maple syrup and freeze it in the freezer, how like stringy it would get? It's like that. It would be like a really thick liquid. Okay, so then we would turn this thing on, and this is going to make noise, so don't get startled. And this would mix it up in here. But that's going to start to crystallize because you boil the sugar and you cool it off, it wants to crystallize again. So we throw in some frappe, whatever, which is like eggs whipped up, and that stops the crystallization for whatever reason, I'm not sure why. And then we would put in like flavors and colors into this. We put in some maybe some freeze-dried raspberry. Well, if it was a chocolate batch, you would put in some like chocolate liquor, it's called. Chocolate liquor is what, by the way, that's what chocolate is made out of. Let me show you some of that. But it's also used to flavor a chocolate batch. Now, whoever wants one of these can take. And this is like, you know how you get chocolate and it says so many percent cacao, whatever, 80%, 90%. This is 100%. There's no sweet stuff in it. So it doesn't taste good, right?
It's bitter.
Doesn't taste very good. So you might not want to eat it, but so it's a flavoring really. But anyway, that's how you make the flavors. The flavors are all super concentrated. Okay, so this, when it's rolling around in here, it's going to turn into like a ball of like what looks like Play-Doh. I don't know if you ever played with Play-Doh or whatever when you were a kid. And that would go up in here. This is a cream press. Put that down in there. And this is an old-fashioned hand crank type, where this crank is going to press this down through here. Now across the bottom of this, there's little wires going across those holes. The holes in this die across there, wires will cut that off when you have the right amount. The crank controls the amount, and you cut it off. And normally there's a thing sitting down here, a table like to catch it. It would go onto like a what happened to it? Oh, there it is. And so there'd be like a piece of paper here with wax paper. And when you cut that off, that gives you like 55 at a time. Now in like a big factory, they'd have something like this, except for it'd have a motor and it'd just be going continuously, automatically, and there'd be a conveyor belt feeding it and all that stuff. But we're not that big, so we got this. And this is what you use to dig it out from here, and you dig the ball of cream batch, put it in there. Okay, this stuff over here, this is for caramel like cutting. Caramel, you gotta use a pot like this. Well, the difference is there's the caramel pot in there. It has a mixer on top. It mixes around. The reason you need the mixer is because it stirs. You have to cook and stir it for 3 hours. So in the old days, some poor dude would have to stir it for 3 hours, and they invented the motor. And so it's the same type of pot, but with this stirring thing on it. And so when that was done, you put